My 12-year-old son stopped coming to me with problems. When something went wrong at school, he'd handle it alone. When he was hurt or upset, he'd disappear to his room. Then a child psychologist told me something that shattered me. She said, "Your son isn't independent, he's avoidant. He's learned that needing you isn't safe, so he shut down emotionally to protect himself. And you've been teaching him this pattern through 5 subtle habits you don't even realize you're doing." I was devastated because I thought I was being a good parent, but I was accidentally creating a child who couldn't trust people with his vulnerability. Once she explained what I was doing wrong and how to fix it, I started seeing changes within weeks. My son started opening up again, slowly at first, then more and more. If your child seems overly independent, emotionally distant, or won't come to you when they need support, hit that like button and subscribe right now because these 5 habits might be creating avoidant attachment without you even knowing it. Let me start by explaining what avoidant attachment actually is, because it's often confused with healthy independence. Securely attached children feel comfortable seeking support when they need it and comfortable being independent when appropriate. They trust that their needs matter and that their caregiver will be there. Avoidant children have learned that needing others isn't safe, so they suppress their needs, handle everything alone, and appear overly self-reliant. They shut down emotionally because vulnerability has led to rejection, dismissal, or disappointment too many times. This isn't a personality trait. It's an adaptation to inconsistent or dismissive caregiving. The first habit that creates avoidant attachment is dismissing or minimizing emotions, and I was doing this constantly without realizing it. When my son would express fear, sadness, or worry, I'd respond with things like, "You're fine, it's not that bad. Don't worry about it, you're being too sensitive. Big boys don't cry over that." I thought I was helping him be resilient and not dwell on negative feelings. But what I was actually teaching him was that his emotions were unacceptable, that I didn't want to deal with his vulnerability, and that he should hide his feelings from me. The fix is validation without judgment. When he expresses an emotion now, I say things like, "That sounds really hard, tell me more," or "I can understand why you'd feel that way." I'm not fixing it or making the feeling go away. I'm just accepting it and being with him in it. This teaches him his emotions are safe with me, which slowly rebuilds trust that vulnerability won't be rejected. The second habit is being inconsistently available or responsive. Sometimes I'd be fully present when my son needed me, and other times I'd be distracted, busy, or emotionally unavailable, depending on my stress level. This unpredictability taught him he couldn't count on me being there, so he stopped reaching out. Children need consistency to develop secure attachment. When they can't predict whether their caregiver will respond with warmth or dismissal, they learn to handle needs alone to avoid the risk of rejection. The fix is creating predictable availability. I can't be at my child's beck and call every second, but I can create consistent times when I'm fully available. After school for 20 minutes, before bed, and during dinner. During these times, I'm present and responsive. Outside these times, I communicate clearly when I'll be available. This predictability helps him trust that I will be there, which reduces the need to be avoidant. I would say things like, "I love how you figured that out yourself. You didn't even need my help," or "You're so independent, you never ask for anything." I thought I was building confidence, but I was actually reinforcing that needing me was bad and handling things alone was what earned my approval. The fix is praising both independence and healthy help-seeking. Now I say things like, "I'm glad you asked for help when you needed it. That's really smart," or "It's brave to admit when something's hard and ask for support." I'm teaching him that needing others is strength, not weakness, and that it's safe to be vulnerable with me. If you want to understand attachment and raise emotionally healthy kids, subscribe and turn on notifications for more research-backed parenting insights. The fourth habit is solving problems for them or taking over when they struggle, which seems counterintuitive because isn't that being available? But here's the difference. When your child comes to you with a problem and you immediately take over and solve it for them, you communicate that you don't trust them to handle it and that you're uncomfortable with their struggle. This creates learned helplessness or pushes them to stop coming to you because asking for help results in you taking over rather than supporting their process. The fix is being a supportive presence without taking over. When my son comes to me now with a problem, I ask questions that help him think through it. What have you tried? What do you think might work? How can I support you? I'm there with him, but I'm not rescuing him. This builds both competence and trust that I'll support without controlling. The fifth habit is using shame, criticism, or disappointment as primary tools for correction. When my son would make mistakes or not meet expectations, I'd express disappointment, criticize his choices, or use shame to motivate change. I'm disappointed in you. I expected better. Why can't you be more responsible? This taught him that making mistakes or not being perfect resulted in emotional withdrawal of my love and approval. So he learned to hide struggles, mistakes, and imperfections to avoid my disappointment. This is textbook avoidant attachment forming. The fix is separating behavior from worth and responding to mistakes with curiosity and teaching instead of shame. When he messes up now, I say, "That didn't go well. What happened? What did you learn? What could you do differently next time?" My love and acceptance aren't conditional on his performance, and he's learning that mistakes don't cost him my connection. Comment below and tell me honestly, do you recognize any of these 5 habits in your own parenting? There's no judgment, just awareness. Here's what happened after I consciously changed all 5 habits for 3 months. My son started coming to me again, not all at once, but gradually. First with small things, then with bigger struggles. He'd share feelings he used to hide. He'd ask for help instead of suffering alone. He'd show me when he was hurt instead of pretending he was fine. The walls he'd built to protect himself started coming down because I'd shown him consistently that vulnerability was safe with me, but I want to be really honest about this process. It took time and consistency. The first few times I validated emotions or stayed present with struggles, he was skeptical. Years of learning that I dismiss or take over don't erase overnight. I had to prove through repeated experiences that I'd changed, that it was safe to need me now. There were moments I slipped back into old patterns and had to repair. But I stayed committed because I understood what was at stake, his ability to form healthy relationships for the rest of his life. The research on avoidant attachment shows it doesn't just affect childhood. Adults with avoidant attachment struggle with intimacy, have difficulty trusting others, suppress emotions, and often have relationship problems. But the wonderful news is that attachment patterns can be healed with consistent, responsive, accepting caregiving. It's never too late to change these patterns. If you're reading this and recognizing that you might have been creating avoidant attachment through these 5 habits, please don't spiral into guilt. Awareness is the first step. You can start changing these patterns today. Every time you validate an emotion, every time you're predictably available, every time you praise help-seeking, every time you support without taking over, every time you respond to mistakes with curiosity instead of shame, you're building new experiences that teach your child vulnerability is safe. If this video opened your eyes to patterns you didn't see before, please share it with another parent. Avoidant attachment is so common and so misunderstood, often mistaken for healthy independence. Drop a comment and tell me which habit you're going to work on changing first. Or if you recognize avoidant patterns in yourself from your own childhood, share that too. And make sure you're subscribed because we're building a community of parents who understand attachment, prioritize emotional health, and are willing to look honestly at patterns that need changing. Thank you for being here and for caring enough about your child's emotional well-being to examine your parenting honestly. These 5 habits can be changed, and when you change them, you give your child the foundation for healthy, trusting relationships for life.